My nigga Weezy, you know what I'm saying?
I don't fit right anomalies, and I don't accept how you lying to me. See yourself fall in my dreams, show you something you never seen. I don't seem to understand these things. I be rolling out a bounce, I keep a beam, steady gonna ring. Love over passion, tell me what it mean. Live like a gangsta, I don't fit right with them things. Money talking like a preacher, blew that strap in the bottom. He tried running, knew they was coming, bound at hunters, then caught him. Toss all your feelings in the leg once they locked in the bottom. I'm too aggressive, please excuse me. You know how I'm rocking, I'm thugging.
Kevin Porter Jr. is a 6'5" and a half, 213-pound, smooth, crafty basketball savant from Seattle, Washington. He went virtually under the radar in high school on draft radars as a 4-star prospect until he absolutely cooked the USA team in a Nike Hoop Summit scrimmage that he was invited to as a practice squad member. This team included guys like Zion Williamson, Darius Garland, and Cameron Reddish. Porter would then sign to the University of Southern California to play under Andy Enfield. Kevin Porter is a dynamic player if I've ever seen one. He has the best handle in this class and creates an ocean of separation between him and his defender. Porter is the kind of player that can only be described as must-see TV, and he has a knack for breaking down his defenders off the dribble, making them look flat out silly, then finishing it off with a Harden-like patented step back that he made his own. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention he has rockets in his shoes. Although he does not have the highest vertical leap, he is one of the most functionally athletic players in the 2019 draft class. Porter can just explode out of nowhere like a stick of dynamite. It takes little to no load time for him to get to his maximum vertical, which makes up for the slightly underwhelming vertical, which allows him to get up to his max vert in a fraction of a second if he needs to. Meanwhile, other players, they have to, get that deep knee bend and load up to get to their maximum vertical. Porter can do it in a fraction of a second. And when paired with a 6'10 wingspan, a strong frame, and ambidextrous finishing, Porter should be living at the free throw line. However, he settles entirely too much, like on this play here where he beats his man, but instead of attacking the basket and making the defense make a decision, he settles for the step back 3-pointer that he misses. He does too much lateral and backwards movement when he breaks guys down, and he rarely attacks the basket, as seen in this picture here where he has a significantly smaller defender beat with a wide open lane, but he settles for the step back 3 once again. Of course, it's nice that he has the stop and go ability and the footwork to even get this insanely difficult shot off, but still he has to get more comfortable attacking the rim on the step back 3 or picking up his dribble when his first move doesn't work. He needs to work on keeping his dribble alive and being in more read and react situations so he doesn't get caught slipping like this in the NBA. According to Hoop Math, Kevin shot 68% at the rim this season at USC, and it would have been nice for him to get there even more, only getting 28% of his total shots at the rim. Kevin is a true 3-level scorer. He can hit the 3-point shot off the ball, he can get his own shot off the dribble from deep, and Kevin is a pretty solid shooter overall, but he may be slightly worse than the numbers from 3 would indicate, as he has had a fairly small sample size going 28 for 68 from 3. However, he created 59% of those looks from 3, so it's a mixed bag. If I had to put a number on it, I would say he's around a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 shooting from deep. But he did finish with 41% from 3, but like I said, that was on a relatively small sample size due to his suspension early on in the year. Porter has been an abysmal free throw shooter, granted, once again on a small sample size of 42 attempts. He knocked down 48.8% of his freebies this season, which is why I said the shooting is kind of a mixed bag. He shot well from 3 while creating more than half of those shots himself, yet shoots below 50% from the free throw line and less than 30% on 2-point jumpers. His shooting is, like I said, a mixed bag. It's pretty bittersweet.
Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Porter from his interviews is a very smart person. He gets a bad rap with the media from being suspended for various reasons during his USC days.
Do it again. Please.
Stay off the weed.
It is rumored that he was big on cannabis use, partying, and that he challenged his coaches, which in all honesty, I can't really blame him considering that they were terrible at their jobs. I mean, come on. You have one of the best scorers in the country on your team and you just sit him in the corner and let Derek Thornton of all people dribble the air out of the ball? They ran their offense through Benny Boatwright, who is good, but it was a complete misuse of the talent that is Kevin Porter Jr. I believe that the character concerns are overblown and that he is a college student doing college student things. However, if you are a team who drafts Kevin, maybe you should look into having a strong veteran presence, or better yet, just sign Jamal Crawford, someone who's a father figure to Kevin and won't cost you much at all. Okay, let's hop in our DeLorean and take it back a few months to take a glimpse into Kevin Porter as a passer.
Watch this.
At USC, Kevin was relegated to standing in the corner instead of being involved on ball, so he didn't really get a chance to showcase that playmaking ability. One thing I believe people forget to do when evaluating one and done talent is that 1 year in college is not their first year playing basketball, and taking a look at some basketball that they played previously could be extremely valuable. So I got to catch Kevin in AAU games and in the Drew League prior to this. So in both situations, he was showcased and able to play more on ball and showed some true playmaking ability. He certainly has good vision and is capable of making some really nice passes. However, Kevin is a pretty poor decision maker at this stage of his career and is at times a little overly ambitious with his passes, which leads to turnovers. Kevin has a tendency to telegraph and flow his passes, which end up getting picked off. He has the same issue that RJ Barrett has, where his playmaking and scoring modes do not coexist. It's kind of like the guy from Split, where one of the personalities has the light.
I can't steal a light for too long or he'll know and get angry, etc.
He's either scoring or he's passing. There is no in between, which is something that could limit his ceiling and make him pretty much just a scorer. With the likes of James Harden dominating the league, defense seems like it's more a want than a need at this point when it comes to these high-level prospects, but people have to remember that it's an uphill battle to make up for your defensive deficiencies with your offense. You have to become an all-time level offensive player if you're just a very bad defender, and that is something James Harden is. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. But with Kevin Porter Jr., he's neither a good nor bad defender. He is engaged for the most part on ball, but he does not really know how to defend yet. He's usually pretty erect in his stance and does not get down to guard. He seems like he's a pretty willing defender, which bodes well for his long-term future on this side of the ball, especially when coupled with his frame and his athleticism. Off ball, Kevin does a pretty good job rotating his head to see both his man and the ball, and he did a good job communicating on the floor, kind of like quarterback. But although he needs to work on learning help defensive principles, he was good when he only had to worry about his man or the area in a zone, but he's not very good at rotating for help yet. And Porter is a legitimate defensive playmaker. He has the ability to get up for blocks and uses that length to get into passing lanes. Although he does gamble a bit too much, which gets him out of position, this and his switchability are the best parts of his defense at this point. He has the potential to be a very good switch defender because he has quick enough feet to guard point guards and shooting guards, yet the frame and the strength to make bigger players pretty uncomfortable. First and foremost, there are some much smarter people out there who pointed me towards these things about Porter's jumper, and their Twitters and their websites will be in the description down below. Kevin's jumper is too low, which may be negated due to the amount of space he creates. However, it may be impacting his percentages from the free throw line, and this is pretty much why his shot is flatter than you would want. Porter also has pretty poor alignment when he does square up to shoot off the catch because his knees go inward, which kind of saps the power from his shot, which is why he misses short a decent amount of the time. Lastly, something I would never be able to point out myself is that he is a lefty who is right eye dominant, which is why he has that nasty little elbow flare on his jumper. These are, for the most part, fixable things, and it is truly amazing that he was able to hit so consistently from three despite all of these form issues. This may point to the fact that he may have potential to be a very good shooter if he gets with the right team with a good enough shooting coach. Alright, so I prefer to give you guys a pool of players rather than a, one-to-one direct comparison, because no one player is just like another. They may have elements of other people's games and similarities to other people. So I don't like to compare one player to a prospect or anything like that. That's not even fair to the prospect to begin with. But if I had to give you guys a pool of players, it would be OJ Mayo, Nick Young, first year in Houston, James Harden as a 100 percentile outcome for Kevin Porter, and a little bit of Brandon Roy, to be honest. And yeah, that's pretty much the player pool that I see Kevin Porter. I see a little bit of all of those guys in his game if things work out for him. There are some pretty good team fits for Kevin in the late lottery to, mid first round. The best fit to me, I may be a little bit biased, FYI, is the Orlando Magic, because they kind of need a dynamic guard. Because, they have a whole bunch of pretty good role players, but they don't have anyone that you can just go get a bucket from. Markelle Fultz is that in theory, but I'm just not willing to put all my eggs in the Markelle Fultz basket yet, because he hasn't shown us anything yet. And even if that is the case, a KPJ Markelle Fultz backcourt would be insane. So then there's the Heat. They're kind of looking for that Dwayne Wade replacement, someone who can also go get a bucket. They're kind of in a similar situation to the Orlando Magic. And then there's the Pistons. They just need a lot of everything. And if Kevin Porter's there, they should take the gamble on him. And then there's the Hornets. Malik Monk hasn't worked out thus far. And, Kevin can kind of fit that same exact role as Malik. And I like him better as a prospect anyway. All in all, Kevin Porter is one of the most exciting players to watch in this draft, and he has potential to become one of the better scorers in the NBA. I don't necessarily see top 10 potential with Kevin Porter as far as being a top 10 player in the NBA, because he doesn't really have the playmaking to get you to that next level yet. But as far as scoring, he's going to be one of the better scorers in the NBA, and I feel like as a floor, he's going to be a solid starter. I really like Kevin Porter, and I think he should be one of the top 20 picks in this draft. Thank you guys for watching today. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, comment, and share the video. Let me know down below the next player you want me to do a player analysis on. Thank you guys, and goodbye.